Let's get started.
All right, everybody, and welcome to the Bonus Stage Podcast, episode number 21. As always, I'm your host, Lloyd Hannison, and joining me, not Stephen Munn. It is Jeff Ward. Jeff,
I just noticed that.
I didn't change your lower thirds. I'm like, I look
you
over.
said you were ready.
I thought I was ready, and then I look over, and it's like, it says Jeff is Stephen. That is the weirdest thing ever. And Stephen's not actually in the chat room this time, otherwise he would have laughed at me.
Unreal.
I will change it.
This is
blah,
this
blah,
is
blah.
the subtle way that I'm being muscled out of the show.
Get off the show.
And Stephen is now replacing me.
Get off the show. What did you hear something?
I didn't.
Jeff, how's it going?
Good. And yourself?
It's going okay. I can't complain too much. Okay.
We've got lots of complaining to do later on in the show.
We were complaining before the show. We're talking about grumpy old curmudgeons before the show, which was great. And I'm not pointing any fingers.
It was me.
Yeah.
I'm not watching the stream, by the way. So if you were actually pointing a finger at that,
I was pointing two fingers, actually.
Okay.
Gotcha. You can see that.
One at yourself?
No, both at you. Because you're doubly curmudgeonly today.
Shit. Yeah, that's fair.
Yep.
That's actually fair.
You're a crusty old man,
yeah.
Jeff.
And I will do nothing but prove that all night as we complain about things. Although there's tons of great stuff to talk about too. So like, don't think that if you're listening to this now as a podcast, you're like, oh great, it's the depression episode of the bonus stage. No, there's many a great thing to talk about.
Yeah.
But
we played the great game Depression Quest, and now we're just going to tell you all about it for the next 3 hours.
Yeah. But as always, like, it's tough to find like episodes that are like just all great, unless we're doing like a countdown episode of like most anticipated stuff or best ofs. There's always some stuff that kind of just bothers us, but that's where also you guys can get involved. Like if you think we're way wrong, send us an email, vgpodcast@gmail.com. Let us know if we've got something wrong, or if you think that we're way off base, because I would love nothing more than to argue and disagree with you on the show.
You're wrong, listener. Yeah. You are wrong.
Exactly. Get out of here.
Awesome. That's great. Let's pick fights with our listeners, Jeff.
I think it'd be a fantastic way to get this show the notoriety it deserves.
The infamy.
There you go. The infamy is a better way to describe it.
We already argue enough on the show, Jeff.
I would say that we don't argue enough.
When you say a game is the worst thing ever, and then I tell you why I think it is not the worst thing ever, that is in fact an okay game, and then 2 weeks later it's actually in your what you've been playing. So it's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing, Jeff.
I do flip-flop quite easily on games.
That's cool.
A prime example is Tom and I, when it was on the radio, the Xbox Live Arcade game last summer, I Am Alive, I hated it. It was one of the worst games I'd ever played. But for whatever reason, I was like, I have to beat this game to just like, I beat the game, and then I'm like, yeah, F you game, I beat you, even though you sucked. And the more I played, the more it like kind of stuck in my brain, and I actually think it's a pretty decent game now.
It's funny. I'm trying to think of the last game that happened to. I can't remember, but we had a good laugh about it a couple podcasts ago. I'll have to go back and listen to it. It is good. Having battles and arguments is always a fun thing, Jeff.
Yep, absolutely. That's what makes radio great, or podcasting great.
Sure. I disagree with you. I think it makes it awesome.
Okay, that's all right then.
All right, man. Let's get into the show. Let's stop with our BSing. Jeff, what you been playing?
Not a lot this week. I've been really busy doing video stuff and editing and talking to people and meetings and all that kind of stuff.
Human contact? What?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's
You
weird.
kind of have to every once in a while.
And running into your fellow podcaster at 3
Yes.
in the morning at a movie theater.
We went,
Midnight,
I
I
didn't
guess.
realize it. It was midnight it was right after. But Carly and I went to see Die Hard on, what was it, Sunday, I think?
Yep.
Sunday night? Yeah.
Because Monday was a holiday.
And then I get this text message like, "Hey, are you in the theater? I guess you saw my Blue Jays hat, right? Which I'm not wearing right now."
No, I saw you tweeting about the what is it? The
D-box seats.
Yeah, the douchebag seats.
Yes.
That they had there. The really terrible. I want to charge you $10 more to sit in a seat that rumbles. I'm going to take an N64 Rumble Pack and I'm going to stick it under your seat and charge you $10 for it. Seats.
Yeah,
those ones.
Yeah, exactly.
But you were going off on it on Twitter and I was like, wow, it's really weird that he's talking about douchebag seats all of a sudden, because I'm sitting right in front of him and I was like, dude, are you at the theater right now? And he's like, yeah, I am. And it's not like Winnipeg is so small that we only have a theater and a screen. Like there's many theaters in Winnipeg. It just happens that we were both at the same place at the same time at midnight on a Sunday. It was just weird.
Yeah, I live really, really close to Polo Park, and obviously it's probably the easiest drive for you. It's also, in my opinion, the best theater in the city as well too. But yeah, it was cool to run into you there, and it was just like it was so strange because I go to movies and I just totally zone out, right? Like I don't like to talk to people. I'm probably the worst movie date because I don't like to talk or converse or anything. Like if you talk to me during a movie, it just pisses me off. But all I could think about was like, Lloyd's up there watching this movie. Like it was just in the back of my head. It was really strange.
I was throwing like Smarties at you the whole movie, but
that was also kind of a piss off too. So I did not appreciate that.
And I had my megaphone. I was like, Jeff, what do you think of this part of the movie?
Yeah, I was like, save it for the podcast.
That was a little bit much too. So
yeah,
that could have ruined it for you as well.
The audience was not in favor of that. But anyway, what have I been playing this week? Because I've been busy. Call of Duty is kind of that. I'll talk about it. For every week basically. That one I go back to, I can get in, play 20 minutes, and get really pissed off, and break controllers, and then vow never to play video games again, and then go back in a few hours when I'm rendering and play it again. Right. So I've been playing a lot of that this week. I've been getting kind of bored of Black Ops 2 because I've played it so much, so I went back to older ones and was having fun doing that. I actually just put up a new commentary today with some Modern Warfare 2 footage, and the last few days I've had, kind of an inordinate amount of free time. So I decided it's time to go back to Mass Effect 1 and do it all over again. So a couple nights ago, created a new Shepherd with all different things that I've never done before. So I'm playing a Vanguard character. I've never done that class before. I did the Ruthless Psych profile. I'm just being a complete assbag to everybody in the game. Like, it's all Renegade options, just telling people to go to hell and all that kind of stuff. Like how Shepard in this universe I've created for him ever becomes a Spectre with the way he talks to people is
fear
ridiculous.
Is what it is. Absolute and total fear. So I've
been playing that, and Mass Effect 1 is tough to go back to. I've beaten it now probably 8 or 9 times, and I just want to get to Mass Effect 2, and Mass Effect 2 is such a significantly better game, and then of course 3 is like really like the kind of penultimate experience of that universe. But this playthrough, and I kind of want to, because I've never done this before, I don't want anybody to live. So I'm telling people to go to hell. There's going to be some spoilers in here, but Mass Effect 1 and 2 have been out for a long time, but I won't spoil anything for 3.
Throwing them in front of trains.
Exactly. I'm gonna shoot Rex in the head on Vermeer. I'm gonna kill him.
Nice.
Ashley's gonna die instead of Caden, which is funny because I always choose Ashley because I think she's just a more interesting character. But Caden's actually really cool. I didn't really know anything about his backstory until just playing this, so he's actually pretty awesome. So Ashley will die this time. In Mass Effect 2, anybody who can die is gonna die. I don't care. I'm not doing any of their loyalty missions. I'm not doing any of the upgrades to the ship. It's
they will all die.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think you have to keep a couple characters.
Yeah.
I think Garrus comes with you, and I think whoever Ashley or Caden has to come with you. But Tally's gonna die.
You're
Some of the DLC characters will die. Everybody's
you're gonna
die.
let everybody turn into like the Soylent Green inside the big machine.
Oh
all
yeah,
that
I don't
fun
care.
stuff.
Chalkwas, too
Yeah.
bad you're dead.
Yeah, nice.
It's gonna be fantastic.
That's awesome. I don't know if I could stomach playing through Mass Effect 1 again, man. The elevators. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I was just doing that.
And then when you get on the land and you're driving around in the stupid land shark that drives like it's a tank with no treads.
The Mako is awful.
Oh, it's so terrible.
It's really bad. It was great in the day, but it's still really, really difficult to control. And the game is a little bit slower than the other two. The combat isn't as refined. But it's still fun. It's because I love that universe so much. It's hard for me to not want to play it again. I don't know how many more times I'll go back to the first one. There'll be a game series I'll keep forever, pretty much. Just because I have so much love for them. But what I'm really excited for is in Mass Effect 3, just to have this completely destroyed Shepard where everybody on his team has died or hates him. The galaxy hates him. The council's dead because I don't give a damn. The entire ship's crew was decimated and killed by the collectors. I just want to see how bad it can be. I want to have no help for galactic war assets when there's a big confrontation. Just Shepard,
the universe.
Shepard and the friggin' Normandy versus the entire fleet of Reapers. I want planets to fall, civilizations to completely die off. It's going to be fantastic.
The game will change, and it'll actually be the whole universe will be against you, and they'll be siding with the Reapers against you because you're such a jerk.
The Reapers the Reapers have a change of heart. They're like, you know what? This guy's a dick.
Wow.
Let's help everybody else kill him.
We were gonna kill you, but that guy's a supreme douche. Let's take him out first, and then we'll kill you.
So I'm really, really excited just to kind of see. I know that the endings aren't going to be all that dramatically different, but I'm excited to see more of just that Mass Effect 3, how people treat you, what your status in the galaxy is. Every time I see that news reporter, she's getting punched. It's going to be fantastic. I'm really, really excited. So I'm going to keep reporting back every week because it's going to be something that, probably by maybe the end of March, if I keep playing it as well as I am now, I'll be done all 3 of them, but it's going to be a long time. I'm really excited about it because I'm just, the thing, what's really strange? It's just a game. They're not real people. I feel bad being that much of an asshole to friggin' video game characters.
It's tough. I like to play the flawed. I like to play the Han Solo kind of character. So he's a good guy, but he's extremely flawed, right? So that's the kind of character I play, and I really seriously have problems being a total douche to someone in a game. It's just I'd never say that. Even when I played what was the game? Was it Shadow of the Empire or whatever, where you could be a Jedi and you could be either good or bad? And if you're bad, you're really bad. You're picking people up and throwing them off cliffs and stuff. I got halfway through that game and I was just I can't be this much of a dick. So I started going back towards some of the good side of the Force. I don't know. I can't be that mean to inanimate objects. It's really really bizarre. I don't understand.
It's really strange, but I've done it so much now, and I've been really nice to everybody a million times. It's you know what? I don't care anymore. It's still tough to do, and I'm Liara's so nice. Why am I this much of an asshole to her? But I'm I don't care. Go to hell, bitch. You're stupid. You locked yourself in the damn, Prothean ruins, and, you're a horrible researcher. I know what happened to the Protheans. The Reapers killed them.
Yeah.
And then, she does that vision thing where she connects with you. She's like, are you okay? And I'm like, what the hell did you do to me? And I don't know, just such an asshole.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's awful.
That's got to be fun.
Yeah, but that's it. What about you? What about you this week?
I played a little bit of Ni no Kuni. Just booted up the game a little bit. I picked up Dragonborn because the DLC for Skyrim finally came out. Dragonborn came out last week. We had Hearthfire came out this week, which I haven't even touched yet. I've downloaded it, but I haven't left the world of Dragonborn yet, so I haven't been able to get on to any of that. So
it's not worth leaving Soul's time for.
No, definitely not. One thing, I really like Oblivion again, or Skyrim again. I really, really, really like it. Dragonborn is so huge compared to other DLCs that I played in, say, like Oblivion, where the DLC was just super small. Like this is like a mini chunk of the game. There's quests, there's quest lines, there's houses, there's random encounters, there's fighting dragons, there's all this other stuff, and it's like, holy crap, this is huge. Like, didn't you say you spent like 20 hours in playing through Dragonborn or something like that?
I actually haven't finished all the side quests, but I've probably been in that area for around, I would say half that time, 10 hours.
Wow.
And there's still tons of stuff to do. It's a really expansive world. And the thing is, like, map size, it really isn't all that big, but because of the elevation changes and like the mountains and all the things that you can go into, it seems a lot bigger. If you've ever played Fallout 3's DLC called The Pit, where you go to Pittsburgh and that's all, you know, it's probably 3 times bigger than that, I would say. And that's a big area to walk through. So it's really huge.
Yeah, I've gone to most of the black items on my on the compass. It shows like a black area until you've discovered it. So I've gone to most things just to activate them on my map, and I found I think 4 of the books and other stuff, and it's just like, wow, this world is great. I love Skyrim. Yeah, it's really good. So I've been playing a lot of that. Ni no Kuni a little bit because there was a free DLC which gives you a golden familiar. So I downloaded that just to check it out. But I've mainly been playing Fire Emblem on my 3DS. I've been so totally addicted to this game. I'm going to be reviewing it later in the episode as well. But I beat it earlier this week. I've been playing all the DLC. I've been planning on how I'm going to start a new game so that I can have the proper people marry each other so that their spawn will have like all the powers that I want, so I can make like these Uber characters. I'm like so into Fire Emblem as much as I've ever been into Fire Emblem. This game is so good. But anyway, I'll get to that when we do reviews.
Spoiler alert, I think it's a good game.
Worst game ever. Worst game ever. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like even though like Fire Emblem isn't that large, I mean, I guess it's about 20 hours. Let me look at my save game actually. I think it's around, so when I beat it, my save game's at 24 hours. So it's not tiny, but it's not huge. It is so good. They did a really good job with this game. But anyway, we'll get into that when I do my review. But I've been playing some other things, some stuff on my iPad. Nothing of note, really. Just a few games here and there. I've mainly just been getting into Nintendo stuff and playing my 3DS XL and a lot of other stuff like that. So having a little bit of Nintendo love this last week and a bit.
It's always good.
Yeah, it is.
Especially when you're such like a heavy adopter of Nintendo stuff. How's the Wii U?
Just terrible. I hate them.
You hate them. But how's the Wii U treating you lately?
Wii U's kind of not. I haven't played anything new on it so much. I've downloaded a couple titles here and there. I'm looking forward to a couple game announcements or game releases rather. I want to play Lego City Undercover. Couple other games as well that I'm looking forward to. I think I'll get a lot more play out of it when that comes. But yeah, I've mainly been turning it on, checking my friend requests, looking at Miiverse, checking up messages, and then that's it. The cool thing is you don't even need to have your television on to do it. So I'll be sitting in the basement in my man cave watching hockey. I'll be watching the Jets game, and it's like, oh, let's see what's happening on my Wii U. So I'll turn on the gamepad, I'll look at it, check my messages, respond back to some people, and then just turn it off, and I'm back to watching television. So
that's something I really hope, and like we'll get into this later because we're going to talk a ton about the PS4 announcement, but that's something I really hope that they kind of bring into the Vita and PS4 connection, is that like the Vita really does kind of mirror what your PS4 is. You can play some games obviously, but like in the connectivity of like, oh, I want to download a demo on my PS4, but I'm away from it right now. Go on the Vita and do that. I think that's really cool.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm really hoping, and like, I haven't really been, paying attention to a lot of Wii U game release news, but I'm hoping to see a really cool turn-based strategy game come out soon, because with the Wii U pad, I think that game would be amazing.
No, that would be really good. I'd like to see something like that done. I'm trying to think of the name of the turn-based strategy game that I played on the the Wii. I can't think of it right now, but that would have been the game that I'm thinking in my head would be awesome if I could tell you what that title was, but apparently I can't. Derp-a-derp. Yeah. So yeah, that's been pretty much it. That's what I've been playing, man.
Cool. So I guess we should get into new releases this week.
Yeah, I'll start with the first one, then you can take over for a little bit.
Cool.
Nintendo continuing their 30-cent sale. The second game has come out, and you can pick up F-Zero, the SNES version, the Super Nintendo version, on your Wii U, for the Wii U Virtual Console, and you could play an accurate recreation of the Super Nintendo Racer F-Zero for a whole 30 cents.
Cool.
It's expensive. I don't know if you guys can afford it out there, if you're really gonna want to devote that kind of cash to it, but it's pretty damn good. So if you want to own another cheap game, pick it up for 30 cents. I did, and I haven't even played it yet, but I know that I will at one point. So
it is a really good game. Why not 25 cents? Like 30? It's such a weird number.
It's 30 years. It's their 30th anniversary. So
okay. I did not know that. Yeah. That makes sense, I guess. Somewhat loose sense, but it makes sense.
It makes total sense. It's a weird number.
Yeah.
10 games, so it'll be $3 in total. I wish you could just pre-buy them, where you would just say, okay, I want to buy all of them, spend my $3 plus tax, and then they would just show up on my Wii U. That would be really awesome, because it's pretty annoying that I have to remember to go and download them.
Yeah.
And I'm bitching about going into a menu and downloading a game that takes like 17 seconds and costs me 30 cents. But yeah, it would be nice if it was automatic.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Other new releases this week, a couple of big heavy hitters. Crysis 3 came out, Xbox 360, PC, and PS3. Demo's out, I know for sure, on the Xbox. Got to be somewhere for PC and PS3 as well, too. I played the demo. I actually really love it. It's this multiplayer beta. Crysis 2 had a really great multiplayer, but the lag was a real issue. They had a lot of latency problems and a lot of frame rate dips, which made the multiplayer not as enjoyable as it could be. But Crysis 3, they seem to have fixed a lot of that, especially in the beta. It just runs really smooth. And they've got this really cool new mode. It's called Hunter mode, and it's very similar. It's basically the same thing as like your flood mode from Halo 4, or like a zombies mode, from Call of Duty, where I guess it's the turned mode from the new Revolution DLC. But basically, there's two teams. Some people are the hunters, the other people are the hunted. And the hunters have these bow and arrows, and they have cloaking abilities, and they can move a lot faster. And the other guys just have guns, and they're just trying to survive as long as possible. And when you get killed, you turn into a hunter. It's a lot of fun. It's a really cool take in that Crysis 3 world. The next one is Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. That's out on the Xbox 360 and PS3. Demo is also out for that on the Xbox 360. Got to be for the PS3 as well, too, because they usually release those in tandem. Mm-hmm. I've played the demo, and it's horrendous. It's one of the worst games I've ever played in my life. The controls are baffling to me. You hold down one of your triggers, and then that kind of like brings you into this like slash the shit out of stuff mode, where you just use the right thumbstick to slash and cut and all this stuff, people and like cars and all. It's cool that it falls apart stuff, but it's really hard to control. I actually like got trapped because I was cutting so much stuff that I actually had to. I was supposed to climb up this stuff to get to a higher point, and I cut it all down, and then I couldn't go anywhere. So I was like, "Oh, that's fantastic! Awesome. That's so ridiculous."
That's great.
So I had to restart the demo and play it again. I really think it's stupid, but it's getting high scores. It's around 8.5 right now on Metacritic, which is, I think, way too high. But I think if you're a big Metal Gear fan, especially if you're a big Raiden fan, you probably owe the demo a shot at least. But the control scheme is very, very interesting, to say the least. My opinion is it sucks, but I just could not wrap my brain around it. New Assassin's Creed 3 DLC. This is probably the longest DLC title I've ever heard in my life. It is The Tyranny of King Washington - The Infamy. It's very, very long. So that is out on Xbox, PS3, and PC. I don't know how much it is. They did not say that, but I'm going to assume between $10 and $15. But yeah, so that's out. And then the last DLC is Skyrim DLC, which is Hearthfire, and that came out on the PS3 today, which is $5, I believe. Although I believe on the PS3 you guys get it for free, don't you?
No, we get it for 50% off, so it's $2.49.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, it is.
Good deal. And I just got an email actually from the guys at Activision, not because I know them, but because I'm on the mailing list. And Black Ops 2 Double XP is this weekend, which is cool. So the 22nd to the 25th, Double XP. It's going to be a prestiging weekend, I believe, for me. So that's cool. Just wanted to keep you guys appraised of that. Just started now.
Sweet. A couple other things which just popped in my mind. On your Wii U and also on the 3DS, there was a demo for Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate released. So it's a demo that you can play on both devices. It allows you to play 2 missions, an easy mission and a hard mission on each. You can actually team up. A 3DS version can team up with the Wii U version, which is pretty cool. So that's kind of neat if you're into Monster Hunter. Not many people in North America are. So, but if you want to play a demo, you can do that. On the 3DS, there was also a demo for Sonic All-Star Racing Transformed. Been playing a lot of that on my Wii U and really, really loving it. So I just actually queued up the demo to download, which would be pretty cool. And this goes to Prometheus in the chat room. Before the show started, we were talking about Adventure Time, and he asked me how the game was, and I said it's probably not that great because it doesn't have the voices. But if you want to see how good or not good it is, there's actually a demo available. This must have come out a couple weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago, but I missed it. So it's available for download as well if you want to try a demo of that game, which is Adventure Time. Hey Ice King, why'd you steal our garbage? Which is the weirdest name for a game, but there you go. That's Adventure Time. So a couple other things that you can download for free on your 3DS if you have one. Awesome. All right. Yeah, I think that's it. What do you say we take a small break there, Jeff?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's try to do another random chiptune and see if it works out for us.
Cross your fingers, everybody.
All right, here we go. It is starting. But this track apparently has a few seconds of nothing at the start of it. Let's try another one. Come on. Don't call me liar here. There we go. right. Sorry, guys. Left that one going for a little bit longer than I normally would, but hopefully you enjoyed it anyway. That wasn't a chiptune, as you could tell by the screaming guitar in the background.
Was that like OC Remix or something?
No, it was from Danimal Cannon, from the album Roots. This is the rock remix of a chiptune that they made, I guess. So, yeah, kind of bizarre, but wasn't that horrible. It was okay to listen to.
Yeah, it was fine.
Cool. All right. Well,
it could always be worse.
It definitely,
as we know,
and it has been worse. There's been many worse songs being played.
Yeah.
The 30 Second of Silence song was pretty horrible. So hopefully that one won't come up again.
You know, the 30 Seconds of Silence song was a lot better than that one really horrible song that we listened to once.
Yeah, I can't even remember what it was. It was so bad. I've tried to forget what it was. Yeah. Anyway,
one day it'll sneak up on us again, and we'll go, "That was the song. That was the song."
And then it shall be deleted from the iTunes library.
Yeah.
All right, man. Let's get into reviews. So review. This is gonna be me talking about a little game called Fire Emblem Awakening. I wish I had a camera set up so I could show you guys on the live feed what I was seeing right now, but I can't, so I won't. This is the first 3DS version of the Fire Emblem series. Fire Emblem's been out for a long time now. I played it on my Game Boy Advance. It's been on the Wii. It's been on like multiple generations of Nintendo. There's a lot more Fire Emblem games that have been released in Japan that never actually came out here, which is kind of interesting as well. But anyway, for this version, Fire Emblem Awakening, Nintendo basically changed the game a fair bit. The game's always been really punishing. I can remember playing missions 50 times to try to get through them without one of my characters dying, because I had this crazy OCD problem with the game where if any of my characters died, I would restart the match because I could not have any of my characters die because I want to take them all to the end of the game.
Tom was the same way. He would always get so pissed off when he lost a character.
Especially the ones that would take like 20 minutes and you'd get almost to the end, you'd be fighting the boss. Yeah. And then they'd kill your healer, and it's like, oh no, why that person wasn't even close enough? How did you get over to that?
I always find that to be as frustrating as like playing Final Fantasy Tactics on the GBA, and one of the judges is like, yeah, no melee attacks, and be like, that's all my characters do. I have no magic. Damn it. Well,
the game is done.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was always annoying, but it was fun at the same time. And I know a lot of people that are masochists really love it, and they would play on the hardest mode and they would try to make it through the game without anybody dying. I was not that person. I was pulling my hair out and screaming at the heavens and throwing my Game Boy Advance around the house. Anyway, this game has changed that. So you can still play what they call classic mode, where if your characters die, they're gone. They're dead forever. If your main characters die, then it's game over and you have to restart. But all your support characters can die. You can let them die, and that's fine if you want to play that way. But they've added what they call casual mode, which is not a description that I kind of like about it, because there's nothing really casual about it. It's still as hard as the normal version of the game. It's just your characters don't die, but I guess that's a good name for it. And basically that means that you can go through the game. If your characters die, they leave the battlefield, but they are still in your party at the basically after you beat that level, and you can take them on to the next match, and they're all healed and everything's happy and rainbows and awesome stuff is happening. So they've added this mode to the game, which I really, really, really like. In fact, they did something really dastardly, and I think I mentioned it on the last episode of the show. But they released some downloadable content. They released a free version, a free map that you could download. But to get it, you actually had to play to, I believe it's Chapter 6, to then unlock the island called the Outrealm Gate, which you access the downloadable content. So I bought this game earlier than I probably would have normally, because I wanted to buy it, obviously, but I also was playing Ni no Kuni, and I knew that if I got into Fire Emblem and if it was as good as everybody said it was, I would not touch anything else. So I said, okay, I'm going to download it. I downloaded it from the eShop. So I didn't go out and buy a cartridge. I just downloaded it, which is great because I'll always have it on my system, which is pretty awesome. And then I said, okay, I'm going to play until I unlock the downloadable content map. And then that's it. I'm going to put it away. I'm going to hide my 3DS. I'm not going to look at it. I'm not going to think about it. And by about the third mission, the game had its hooks sunk deep into my flesh. And I basically didn't play anything else but this. So congratulations, Nintendo. You stopped me from playing Ni no Kuni. I hope you're happy. But anyway, that's essentially how I got into the game. So if you're not familiar with the series, Fire Emblem is a turn-based strategy game where you unlock characters by completing missions, by beating people and recruiting them after you do that, by talking to people on the battlefield. And you use these people in your turn-based missions to attack the enemy. So there's a couple different ways that you're asked to beat levels. Either you defeat all the enemies, which is called rout the enemies, or you just have to beat the main boss and then all the enemies scatter. And you do that by moving your characters on a grid on the map. Each character has a certain amount of spaces it can move. It can do a certain amount of damage. It has a certain amount of experience points. When you get to 100 experience points, your character levels up, and then its stats go up. Yada yada yada. So it's a turn-based role-playing game. What they've done with this game, this particular version, is you always were able to kind of level up your characters to different, more powerful versions. They would automatically kind of level up to better versions of themselves. This game has added things called seals, where you can take your character who is maxed out at level 20 or level 30, depending if it's a character that is part of the main mission or someone that you've recruited from DLC or something like that. And then you can either change their job, so they can be a warrior. You can change them to someone that rides on a horse, someone that has a big shield. There's a bunch of different character classes. Or you can use something called a second seal, which will then take your character and bring their experience down to level 1. So you keep all of your stats, but you go down to the first level of that character. So you don't just... In previous Fire Emblem games, where at a certain point you would just evolve, kind of like Pokemon. This one, you are basically leveling up to your max level, resetting your character, leveling up again, resetting your character, and doing that. So one of my characters, who is someone that is pretty hard to recruit, you actually have to level him up on the map that you run into him. His name is Donnell, and he's... I think I've reset his stats a bunch of times, and he's pretty much fully maxed out. So he has full hit points. He has almost to the top on all of his stats, just because I've leveled him up multiple times, which is really fun. You can also then use master seals to then take these characters and level them up to more enhanced versions of them, just similar to how previous Fire Emblem games work. So they've taken a lot of what you used to do in Fire Emblem, and I haven't played all the iterations of them, so there might be some parts of this that people are like, well, yeah, that always happened. The versions that I played, there's some differences, and there's a lot of similarities as well. And then they've made it so it's more accessible, so people can get in there and play them. Each of the characters... A lot of
people have actually been kind of upset about that, that they've made it almost like, too user-friendly, but the big sticking point is you don't have to play it that way. It's just an option. I don't see why people get so upset over it.
I had one guy tell me that. It's like, well, you're playing on kid mode. I'm like, so?
Like, well, kid mode is really strong, by the way. The game is still difficult.
Yeah, but it's like, well, you're playing on kid mode. I'm like, so? He said, well, yeah, but you're just not having as much fun as I am. I'm like, how do you base that? I'm having as much fun as you because I'm enjoying the game and I'm beating it. He's like, yeah, but you're playing like you're a kid. I'm like, I have kids, so no, I'm not playing like I'm a kid because they wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. I'm playing the game the way that I enjoy. So you play your game the way you want to play it, and I will play my game the way I want to play it. Yeah. And I love that Nintendo has given us the option to do that finally. So we could play through it if we want to be masochists and we want to replay levels 50 times so that our characters don't die. That's fine. But if you're like me, I'm I'm old. I have kids. I work a 9 to 5. I have other jobs on top of my day job. I don't have the time to sit there and replay missions over and over and over and over again. So I really, really appreciate this. It has multiple difficulties as well. So you can play on easy, hard, and insane, I think, is the third version. And I think after you beat it on insane, you unlock an even more difficult version. I probably will never do that.
You just start the game and you're dead already.
You start the game and you can't actually level up because you can't, like, grasshoppers jump by and they land on your head and you're dead or
You're
something.
like, what?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, you breathe in and it's like, oh yeah, there's like a, an airborne particle that you're allergic to. You're dead. It's like, oh my
You're
God.
all zombies now. You eat each other's faces. Game over.
Yeah.
So anyway,
What?
that is kind of Fire Emblem. So I've talked a little bit about the mechanics and things like that. What they've done in this one is, since the 3DS has something called Street Pass, where you pass by people and you shoot information back and forth, they've added that into the game. So there's a whole wireless menu item that you can go to, where you can create your own Street Pass team. So you can basically outfit your characters with all of their best weapons and create a Street Pass team, which then is stored on your card. So when you pass by someone, you basically will appear in their game, which is great. Interesting enough, if they beat you, they can actually recruit your main character. So whoever your main character is, they can recruit a version of your main character to their game, so you can fight with them, which is
that Street Pass stuff is so awesome.
Really, really cool. Other stuff they've done with wireless is Nintendo has something called a bonus box, where just periodically they'll send a spot pass notification. So Nintendo initiates this, and then it just adds stuff to your game. So already they've given you a couple really powerful items, a level A sword and a level B spear, which are level A is the top class of weapon that you can get, and they just appear in your bonus box. You go there, you activate them, and once they get added to your inventory, they've also added bonus teams. So right now, when I first got the game, there was only two I guess sub-menus of teams that I could do: Sacred Stones and Fire Emblem, I believe. They've added Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn. So these are basically teams composed of I guess the characters from all the other Fire Emblem games. So you can pick one. So I'm on Fire Emblem, and I look at the top of the page. There's someone called Florina, who's a Pegasus Knight. I click on that, and it says, "Do you want to summon this team to your world?" I hit yes, and then somewhere on the world map, Florina appears, and if I go over to that person, I can then look at them. There's usually 8 characters in the battle in their team that you can battle, and if I beat them, the leader, Florina, will say, "Well, I want to join your party." You say yes, and then you can actually use that character in the game, which is really kind of cool.
Cool.
So they've added a bunch of those, and let me just have a quick look here. So from the bonus box, you go to bonus teams. Fire Emblem, they have 4, 6, 8, 10. Sacred Stones, they have 10. Path of Radiance, looks like 10. Radiant Dawn, there's only 1 so far. So already Nintendo's just thrown out 35 or 31, I guess, additional characters that you can recruit into your party.
Wow.
2 bonus items, some bonus map, or 1 bonus map, and some bonus challenges. And these are just things that will just randomly appear. There's something called Double Duel, which is a multiplayer battle that you can do if you and your friends are in the same area with your 3DS. You can create a battle room, they can join it, and then you go into battles together, either against each other, I believe, or with each other against the computer. I haven't been able to do that, so I don't know exactly how it works 100%, but it looks like it would be cool if you're one of those people that has Pokemon battles with your friends. That would be something you could get into.
Definitely.
And there's also something called Renown Awards. So as you recruit more characters and level up your characters, the sum total of all of their skill points it gets added to a total called your Renown. And then as you get to different levels of Renown, you unlock free items that you can then add. So you can get things like a large bullion, which gives you 10,000 gold, or you can get Leaf's Blade, or Ephraim's Lance or a secret book, a whole bunch of items which are pretty rare to find in the game. Just by getting other up to the next level of renown, you can add them to your game and stuff like that. So on top of the 26 chapters in the game and the paralogs, which are bonus missions that get unlocked either by getting to a certain level or by having some of your characters marry, there's also all this other free downloadable content that isn't even downloadable content. It's just stuff that's pushed to your game. And then there's a whole downloadable content system. So if you are really into the game and you love all the other versions of Fire Emblem and you want to play with some of those characters, Nintendo has 3 sets of downloadable content out so far. So if you go to purchase maps, you can buy, I'm going to wait for it to load because it takes a few seconds because it's saving some more data to my SD card. But you can buy 3 groups of 3 maps so far. Not all the maps are available, but you can pre-buy the grouping of maps. So the first one was called, it's loading up right now. I can't remember what it was called. It was called Champions Pack. So Champions of Yore is unlocked. So you can have Champions of Yore 1, 2, and 3. 1 is the free one that was available. It's still, I believe, available until the end of March, and that allows you to recruit Prince Marth to your to your party. And he's a pretty powerful character, so you should go download this right away and add Marth to your party, and then you'll be able to play things a little bit easier. Champions of Yore 2 allows you to recruit Roy, and then Champions of Yore 3 allows you to recruit Micaiah, I believe is how you pronounce her name. But then you also get a all stats +2 skill, which is a skill you can teach one of your characters, and all their stats go up +2. The cool thing is you can replay these missions over and over and over again. So if you want all your characters to have a +2 skill, you can do that just by replaying this downloadable content over and over and over again, which is kind of neat. The second group of maps was called the Golden Pack. So for 3 maps, it costs you $6, so $2 a map. So not super cheap, but not super expensive either. And it unlocks 3 separate maps as well. The first one is called the Golden Gaff. The second one is called something else. It's called something Experience anyway. Exponential Growth, and then the third one is called Infinite Regalia. So Exponential Growth has been unlocked and the Golden Gaff have been unlocked. The Infinite Regalia has not been yet. So the Golden Pack is essentially a way that you can get free gold forever. So you can go there and you'll probably get 30,000 gold just by playing the map and killing the enemies. Exponential Growth is the same way except for experience. So they've sold you a way to either get money so you can buy weapons and things, or to get experience to quickly level up your characters. You don't have to do it, but if you do, you'll get you'll be able to play and beat this stuff a little bit quicker. And then the third group of 3 maps just came out yesterday, and it's called the Lost Bloodlines Pack. The first one, it's $6 as well. And if you buy it, the first one, the only one of the 3 maps that's been unlocked, allows you to recruit Leaf to your map as well. And Leaf is from a game that only appeared in Japan. So if you're a big Fire Emblem geek, I'm not quite there, but if you are, you might want to rush out and get this because you've never been able to play with that character before. And then that's it. So you go and you can play things over and over and over again. So if you want to play the Champions of Yore number 1, so you can get Marth, every time that you beat it, it asks if you want to recruit Marth to your party, but you already have him, so you can't recruit him multiple times. But by playing it, you get experience and you get items and stuff like that. The Golden Gaff, I've replayed it a bunch of times because playing through it gets you a bunch of gold, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this is all stuff on top of the main mission, which took me about 20 hours to beat. So, this game.
Oh, so you've actually beaten the game then?
Yeah, I beat the game a couple days ago.
Oh, okay.
And I restarted on a hard mode. So I started on easy and I'm replaying on hard, which is way, way more difficult than easy. So
is the story holds up the whole way through?
Yeah, everything's the story's great. It talks about the rise and fall of your main character. You basically show up, you don't know who you are, which is a typical Japanese RPG kind of thing. You have amnesia type thing. But then it gets really good, and you meet a bunch of really interesting characters, and you develop relationships with them and stuff like that, which is really cool.
That's one of the great things about the series is that there's just so many friggin' characters to meet and interact with. It's insane how, the writing in the game has like hundreds of characters, like,
Hmm.
and they all have like extremely detailed and rich backstories
Hmm.
that aren't throwaway backstories either. They're like, these are things that like you should know about these people because it really is telling about how they're going to interact with you. It's very cool.
Yeah, like so far in my main playthrough, the easy playthrough that I've gone through, I have 48 characters in my that I can choose to be part of my party. These are some people that I got from DLC. These are some people that I beat because I street passed them. The cool thing is if they are part of the game, part of the DLC characters that Nintendo has given me, when you beat the game, they all have something to tell you, which is like, holy crap, this is pretty deep and intense with how it goes. Prometheus in chat room says, does hard mode mean characters are dead forever? No, there's the difficulty modes are different than the play mode. The play mode is either classic or casual, so you choose that first and then you choose your difficulty mode, or vice versa, but they're independent of each other. So I first played through easy on casual, and now I'm playing through hard on casual as well.
Yeah, so that guy who says like you're playing on kid mode is ridiculous because I mean, just because you're playing on casual mode doesn't mean you can't up the actual game difficulty to insanity.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that I'm not beating the same levels that he's beating. He just might have to replay them multiple times to get his characters through. Where
Which doesn't really seem like fun to me.
No, I mean it can be fun, but it doesn't have to be. So, one thing I wanted to say is you can play this game over and over and over. Every time you beat the game, it stores your renown, and then you can build up the renown on another playthrough. So the renown rewards, the first few are like you get 50 renown, you get a glass sword, 100 you get a second seal, 150 you get an Orson's hatchet. Then it goes 210, 270, 330. It goes all the way up to 1,000, and then a couple of other levels. It's like 2,200. It goes all the way to 99,999. So if you want to unlock the last secret special item, you're going to be replaying this game over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. You don't have to,
insane.
But they've made this game so you can do that. And with the amount of characters that you can recruit, the amount of characters you can level up, the amount of relationships you can have. So one thing you can do in the game is you can partner up with someone. So, well, literally and figuratively, I guess. You can partner up with them in the game where they can actually they stand on the same space as you, and then you both you get some benefit from that person being on your space. They basically add power to you. The other thing that you can do is if someone is standing beside or behind you when an enemy attacks you, or when you attack an enemy, they will join in and they give you bonuses. So they might give you an attack bonus or a defense bonus, and they can also join in on the attack as well. But anytime you do that, the partner up or the when they join your attack, you get little hearts will appear above your head, even if it's like two dudes or two girls or whatever. It doesn't mean love, but it just means that your relationship has gotten better. And then there's 3 levels of relationships if you're just a guy and a guy. But if you are a girl and a guy, or a guy and a girl, you can get to the S level of renown, or the
which
S,
is sex,
which stands for hubba hubba hubba. It actually stands for S level because it goes C, B, A, and then S. And once you get to S level, so once a male and a female get to S level together, they immediately then will become married, and then they have the option to have a child at some point, and the child takes on aspects of the father and the mother and gets some of the skills from the father and the mother. So you can get.
Please tell me that you can you get like a character that's a baby that's in your party and it's like fighting. Like that would be awesome.
I wish, but no, that is not the way. That's not the way it happens. But I've been reading message boards, and people are like planning the best breeding of their characters so they can have like the ultimate character that has all the best skills.
Sounds a little eugenics, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds scary if that's the type of thing you like, this type of thing you like, whatever. But this game can be as deep as you want it to be. Like it's amazing. Like I spent 24 hours to beat the game from start to finish, playing a lot of the side missions and stuff like that. But I could probably play my characters. I could probably do it another 4 times to level up all my characters, to use the seals on them, to reset them a bunch of times. This game is freaking huge. It is unbelievably huge. But but I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's going to be on my 3DS forever since I downloaded it digitally, and I can't wait to play it some more. So I'm going to play it some more before bed, actually. It's one of the games that I play a couple missions before I go to sleep. I love this game, Jeff. It's ruined me.
A pretty scathing review.
I hate it.
The game.
I'm grumpy. I'm a grumpy, curmudgeon, crusty dude, and I hate it.
I am. Nobody I've talked to has played this game has anything bad to say about it. The worst thing I've heard about the game is that, they let you play this casual mode where your characters aren't actually dead. Like, if that's the worst thing people can talk about on this game, holy crap, is it a good game?
Yeah, it's so funny. It's like, you can ruin your fun by playing it on easy. Wait, it's easier for me, or it's more fun for me because it is easy.
Yeah.
Like, everybody has fun different ways. And to me, that's about the only complaint I see. Like, if you ever go to GameFAQs or whatever, people come up and say, yeah, Nintendo made the biggest mistake in the world, letting people get through this game easy. They don't know how hard we had it for all those years playing Fire Emblem games. It's like, well, yeah, that's how it was.
So pretentious.
Also, the original Final Fantasy didn't really have a great party system and a great way to get through the game and a great way to level up, but that's what it was at that time. It's still an awesome game. Final Fantasy 1 is great, but the games got progressively better as you went all the way up to like Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever. As you said, it's like pretentiousness. It's like, I don't know. The game was cool before you could play it on easy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get that, but people are entitled to their own opinion, I guess. I just think it's awesome because it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really, really shocked about. I knew a little bit about it because Tom also can't shut up about it. Every time we get on Xbox Live, he's like, "Oh man, I'm playing, more Fire Emblem," and I'm like, "Oh God, shut up!" It
sounds
cool,
like Tom and I would get along really, really well. We're the same gamer.
Big fan of Fire Emblem. He's played every single version.
Yeah.
He loves the series.
I haven't, but I've played a lot of them.
So, so I've heard so much from him, but like I'm totally blown away by how much extra content is in that game. I mean, it's insane. That's the kind of stuff you have to pay for from any other company.
Totally. Like all the stuff that they just give you for free is huge. And then the fact that they put DLC is just kind of like, okay, if you want to make it easier on you, if you want to get all these characters that you love, sure, give us a couple bucks, you can do it. But you don't have to. I bought the gold one because I wanted to have a lot of money so I could create my own weapons. That's the only reason. And grinding was going to take forever. So I was like, it's worth it for me to spend the $6. And now I can get as much gold and experience as I want for when I'm basically getting later in the game and do that. So yeah, I don't know. I really, really like it. I will be playing this game for quite some time, and I might actually play some of the other Fire Emblems that I've never played. Try to get some of them. I think there was a bunch available through Virtual Console and stuff like that. So I'm gonna have to look to do it. I might actually dig out my copy of Radiant Dawn, the Wii version as well, and play through some of that since I can play it on my Wii U. I might have to do that. Cool.
So official word 0 out of 5. For Fire Emblem Awakening.
Stay away. It is like gonorrhea for your 3DS. All right, man.
I did not expect you to go there. I did not expect you to go there.
It burns. It burns a lot. All right, man. Let's get into let's take another break and then we'll get into the news. What do you say?
I'm all for it.
All right, here we go. Another random track. Let's hope it's not 30 Seconds of Silence.
Let's hope.
Here we go. All right, I'm going to cut that one off because it was a really short one and it just ends abruptly. So
I like
sorry.
that one. That was cool.
Yeah, it was kind of a short little one.
Couldn't even get an inning in on MLB The Show.
Ha ha! I ruined your baseballs.
Damn it.
All
That's
right.
okay. I was playing it while you were reviewing Fire Emblem.
Oh, you jerk!
Hey, you were playing Fire Emblem while you were reviewing Fire Emblem.
I was moving my character around on the map while I was reviewing Fire Emblem. That's about it.
Just throwing darts.
I'm thinking I gotta find a way to play some of these ones that I've never played before. So I just went to Wikipedia and it looks like a bunch of them are available on Virtual Console, but I'm assuming that this is Virtual Console in Japan because a lot of these are just Japanese releases, and I wouldn't be able to understand them anyway. So I don't know why I'm even thinking about that.
Yeah, I mean you could emulate them, but sitting in front of my computer playing a retro game or anything like that, just
especially in another language.
oh yeah, just bothersome.
Yeah, it's not fun. I'm looking. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check out. I don't think I played the GameCube one, Path of Radiance. Maybe I'll have to see if I can buy one of those. It's probably really stupid expensive.
I don't know. I mean, go check P&P. If they don't have it, they'll be able to get it for you pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's really, really pricey, but maybe not. Maybe I'll check that one out. All right, moving on. Let's get past the Fire Emblem love and let's get into the news. The first one is kind of sad.
Yeah.
Really, really kind of sad. Really kind of sad.
Well, I mean, if you read any of these from any of these sites,
well, yeah, I guess, but. Yeah, it was kind of sad. It was announced a couple days ago that, or maybe it was even yesterday, I want to say yesterday, that IGN has shut down GameSpy, 1UP, and the UGO gaming properties. So 1UP.com, GameSpy.com, UGO, they're gone. Basically what happened was, I guess all the properties were bought. And then they said, wow, there's a lot of money being spent here. Let's kill all this stuff that's been around for a while and shut it off. So I was a huge fan of 1UP, not of their website because their website was horrible and slow.
It was terrible.
Like you tried to load a page and it would take 5 minutes. It was just terrible.
And just like the navigation of it was really backwards. It was like I'm trying to find like one of the biggest stories of the day and I'm having to dig for it, which should not ever happen.
Yeah, totally. Like, but 1UP was really awesome. Like, I remember back in the day, back like when the PlayStation 3 first came out, like 1UP Yours, which was their podcast, was like, it was the best thing on the internet. Like I podcasted before them and they did a lot to change kind of how my format kind of evolved after that. I know all these people, but even though I don't know them because I listen to them talk for hours, just like a lot of my listeners say to me, like they've been listening to me for 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, and they know me even though they don't know me. But I feel like that with a lot of the people. Most of the people from around that time have already left 1UP or they're with other publications or other online websites. But I know a lot of people were laid off. A lot of people that I read their reviews, it's really quite sad. So yeah, that really blows. Ziff Davis fired a whole bunch of people, which really, really kind of sucks. My buddy Mitch Dyer still is there. He was working for IGN, not for one of the properties, so it looks like he still kept his job, which is really great. I was really kind of worried about him when I heard about all this, all these layoffs happening. So,
IGN is I'm hesitant to say bulletproof, but that's the word I want to use. They're pretty solid because of how many different subsects of the gaming industry they cover. Like not only are they reviews, but they're previews, and a lot of people go to them for the news straight off, the presses kind of thing. And they're a pretty big staple. So they have they're pretty firm, but what this story tells us is that the journalism gaming community is not as bulletproof as everybody thought. It was kind of and still is in some regards, the kind of like, if you want to be a game journalist, it's not easy, but there's so many places to work. It's insane. I mean, you and I, we don't do this for money, but I mean, we are doing this, right?
Right.
We don't write, but we talk about games all the time, and a lot of people follow me on Twitter because I talk about video games, and it's shown that like, hey, you know what, this every industry is going to have its ups and downs, and I'm not quite sure if they like really gave us a good reason why, because I don't know if they were like losing money. I know that they're profitable, but maybe not as much as they would have liked to been. They're like, it's too
Yeah.
much money to make what we're making.
Yeah, I think it's just. I mean, you buy the properties from a company like as if Davis bought them back from like News Corp or whatever it was.
Yeah, Rupert Murdoch's company.
So Rupert has lots of money. He probably leaves more money in his like couch than is spent on all these properties every year.
Yeah.
So I don't think the losses would have been such a huge deal to a company like News Corp. But Ziff Davis. They're smaller. They used to be huge, and then they sold everything off, and now I guess they're buying some of the online stuff back. I guess they're looking at the financials for everything, and they're like, okay, well, we own all these websites that are competing with each other. We own 1UP, we own IGN, we own GameSpy. Why do we do this? Let's just keep the biggest flagship and then get rid of all the other ones. It would have been nice if we would have kept all the people and moved them over, but I guess, I mean, and they want to save money, right?
Yeah, the thing is,
sucks.
like, if they're banking on, like, okay, so now instead of having 4 sites, we have 1, everybody will come to that 1. You're way off base here, guys. Like, you can't just, like, shut the other 3 websites down and think that they'll all come to the other one that you own. Like,
yeah, there's a reason why they exist, right? People like what they like because they like it. So anyway, it really, really sucks. It sucks for all the people that lost their jobs. Good luck to everybody in finding gainful employment somewhere else. Hopefully writing about games or talking about games, since that's obviously your passion. There's been so many like magazines and websites and gaming companies that have all just like fired everybody this year. And last year. It's been a really sad couple of years to be in the game industry. Hopefully things start picking up.
Yeah.
Downer. All right, let's get into the next news story. Jeff, why don't you tell us a little bit about Mass Effect, other than you becoming a total jerkwad and trying to piss off the entire galaxy?
Yeah, so this, I woke up yesterday and I looking at my phone, just kind of waking up and looking at the news, and there's like this Facebook thing from BioWare, and they're like, hey, we just announced some new DLC, and I'm like, oh, well, it hasn't really been that long since Omega, which I still haven't played, but that's awesome. And they announced a new big DLC pack. It's going to be their last piece of DLC for the single player story. For Mass Effect 3. So this is kind of the, this is our last hurrah, and then we're moving on. But it's called The Citadel, and it is I'll read to you a brief synopsis here of what's on the BioWare forums. It says, when a sinister conspiracy targets Commander Shepard, you and your team must uncover the truth through battles and intrigue that these are so stupid, that range from the glamour of the Citadel's wards to the top secret council archives. Uncover the truth and fight alongside your squad, as well as the cast from the original Mass Effect and Mass Effect 2, including Erdnot Rex. When the adventure is over, reconnect with your favorite characters from the Mass Effect trilogy, try your luck at the Citadel's Silver Coast Casino, blow off steam in the Armax combat arena, or explore and furnish Shepard's own living quarters on the Citadel. With unique content and cinematics featuring your friends and romance interests in the Mass Effect trilogy, Mass Effect 3 Citadel offers one final chance to see the characters you have known for years and rekindle romances. So you got some alien boning, you got some alien killing, and you got some alien talking in Mass Effect 3 Citadel. It's going to be $14.99, 1,200 Microsoft points. It's coming out on the 6th of March, which is only a few weeks away. So that was another thing that was like kind of jarring. I was like, wow, this is actually like right around the corner. It's that's really fast. Along with that, we're going to be getting another multiplayer pack. It's called Reckoning Multiplayer DLC. You get a bunch of new characters. So you get the Geth Juggernaut, Cabal Vanguard, Talon Mercenary, Alliance Infiltration Unit, and more, they're saying.
Does anyone care about multiplayer on Mass Effect anymore? Is it still
man, it's
popular?
Huge.
Really?
It's still huge. Tom is into it big time. Every week, BioWare comes out with a new challenge. So right now they're doing, they have a counter. If you go to blog.bioware.com, they have the N7HQ counter at the top, and it's got 59 hours, 36 minutes, 32 seconds left to complete the challenge. So there's always these challenges every week where everybody has to get together and they have to kill a certain amount of Cerberus or a certain amount of Reapers,
Right.
and everybody gets a really cool bonus that's completely unique. Which is cool, and they're all these multiplayer DLCs have been free, and there's been like 7 of them. I'm not quite sure. So
it's just I played it on the Wii U, and multiplayer was like a means to an end. People would play enough multiplayer so that they could get their galactic readiness up, so that they could beat the game. It didn't seem to have that many people playing it.
Yeah, you don't have to. They did bring out a patch where you don't have to play multiplayer to get your Galactus rating up enough to get the best ending. You can do that just through other challenges in the campaign. But yeah, on the Xbox for sure, it's still really, really big. There's no problems getting into a lobby. They're also bringing out a bunch of new weapons for multiplayer. Spitfire assault rifle, Venom shotgun, all these cool things, and that is going to be coming to us on February 26th on the Xbox 360, PC, and PlayStation 3. So that's going to be cool. So that's next week. That's on Tuesday. We get another multiplayer DLC, and then a few weeks after that, we get the Citadel DLC, which is the final pack for Mass Effect 3. So pretty cool stuff. I'm excited for it. I still have to play Omega. It's something I'll go through and I'll pick it up probably when I'm on my playthrough of Mass Effect 3. But yeah, it's cool. I love these DLC packs are always great from BioWare. They always do a really, really fantastic job. It's kind of sad that it's the last one, but that means they're moving on to something different, and I can't wait to see what it is.
Awesome.
Mass Effect 4.
Yeah, do you know what else is good about Mass Effect 3?
It's free.
Yeah, if you're in Europe, it's free if you're a PlayStation Plus member. This was an interesting article that I picked up. We're kind of getting the shaft with PlayStation Plus here in North America. We're getting okay games. What's that?
We've always got. I mean, if you're a Vita owner, we've always gotten the shaft.
Yeah, true enough. But yeah, it just seems even worse. I was looking at the release list. So just recently on Vita, I saw people playing Puddle. What is it?
You can do this, Lloyd. You can do this.
No, Wipeout 2048 we already... Oh yeah, they had Wipeout 2048, which we already got, so we've had that. And also Lumines. They just got that, so I saw some people, my buddies that are in the UK playing it. So that was great. I'm like, I want Lumines. Like, can you add that to North America, please? They also had Sleeping Dogs, which is a great game. They've had so many games that I've wanted to play, but we just haven't gotten access to them. Well, it came out that next month for the UK, Mass Effect 3 is going to be free. So you could play all of Mass Effect 3 as a PlayStation Plus subscriber. Dead or Alive 5. Joe Danger 2, the movie, which is a movie, I guess. You get free movies in the UK for some reason. On the Vita, you get Puddle. And Metal Gear Solid HD Collection, which basically comes with MGS2 and MGS3. We get terrible games, but I still like it. But they're
not terrible, but just like ones that
they're less awesome.
Yeah, less desirable for sure.
If you had piles of awesomeness, our pile would be smaller. And it makes me kind of sad. I really wish that came here.
I have a theory on why this is, and I think it's because in the UK, these games are bought less often than in North America. But that's just my thinking. I don't know if that's actually true or not. Do you have a reason why this could be? Like, they're giving away some friggin' ringers here.
I think it's kind of a reward. To be honest, because Sony has always done really well in the UK from the PlayStation 2 up. I think this is like, you guys have been supporting us, so we're going to throw a bunch of awesome games at you for all you PlayStation Plus users. I really think it's as simple as that, to be honest.
So that to me sounds so backwards from anything that Sony does. They're like, hey, you guys have been really good to us. Here's 3% off.
That's because we have Sony Computer Entertainment of America.
Oh, yeah.
All of the regions are operated as their own business. So
Okay.
I guess the people that run Sony in the UK drink a lot at all the great English pubs and do stupid things like give games away that are really awesome that no one else gets. I hope we get Sleeping Dogs. Like, I really want to play that game. I didn't pick it up on Boxing Day. It was up for $20 on Boxing Day. I didn't pick it up.
Wow.
All my friends that did say it's like such a great game, and I was at EB Games today, just poking around looking for some Skylanders for the kids and stuff, and it's still $50.
It's super popular. The demo is on Xbox 360. It's got to be on PS3 as well too.
Yeah,
I've played it, and it's like,
I don't want to play the
once
demo.
you play the demo, it's really hard not
That's-
to go into the store and buy it.
That's exactly why I don't want to do that. Yeah, so if you're in the UK and you're not a PlayStation Plus member, buy me a plane ticket so I can come over there and smack you upside the head. Because there's no reason not to be if you're in the UK.
You can afford the plane ticket. You're saving so much money on games here.
Totally. You plane tickets all around for everybody because you're saving so much money on these awesome games. So, yeah, there you go. That's it pays to be in the UK, I guess, is what this means. I don't know why, but it does.
And now we get to the thing that everybody wants to hear.
That we save for last because we're jerks.
PS4 Breakdown.
Yeah, so on the 20th, Sony held a little media event for 300 of their closest friends in New York City and unveiled the PlayStation 4. They did it in a really weird way. Leading up to the event, they had all these videos, like the history of PlayStation. So they had a video on PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2.
I like those videos, actually.
Yeah, they were. I didn't say the videos were bad. I just said it was kind of weird the way that they moved up to this event.
Oh, okay.
So they're showing all the great stuff that Sony did. And then they have this event, and they didn't actually show the device. It's like you're getting to the point where you're showing everybody how awesome all your devices were.
Well, did you read that? Did you read that interview on Kotaku like a few hours later? And they were talking with one of the big guys at Sony, and they're like, "What do you care?" Like he say something like, "What do you care?" Like we had to save something. I was like, "What?" Like what an asshole, you know? It's like holy shit.
It's really bizarre too because
smart marketing, Trevor. Man, I don't know, man. I think it's dumb. I think it's real dumb.
I think
we'll get into it here.
Totally. So they unveiled it on the 20th. It was right at the end of January, I believe, or maybe the start of February, where Sony basically came out and said, yeah, we're not going to be first in this generation. We're going to let Microsoft make the first move. We don't want to put out something and then have them copy our product. So don't expect to hear much from the next generation of PlayStation until after Microsoft makes their move. And then like a week later, they announced that this thing was coming on the 20th. It was the weirdest, most bizarre, I don't know, one hand doesn't know what the other hand's doing kind of thing in a corporation that I've ever seen.
Maybe they thought that Microsoft was going to make a move in those 14 days that they waited. They were like, shit, like our thing is coming up. Okay, we got to announce it now. Damn it.
Yeah, I don't get it. I really don't get it. So anyway, they had this really good, Trevor says everything
Trevor
they do
is
smart
just
marketing.
going hard on smart marketing.
What?
Here.
One of their presenters farted. Smart marketing.
It's smart. It's very smart.
Yeah. So they had this event, and the first part of the event, they talked about what the PlayStation 4 is, that it has an 8-core 64-bit x86, a Jaguar CPU developed by AMD, and a Radeon GPU. So that was one thing that I was like, 8-core AMD. It's not running like a PowerPC like cell chip. So they're moving from basically what they've always done, which is like custom chips, to basically a CPU that you could buy from your favorite computer store and plug it into your PC. So they're moving to PC hardware. They talked that there is going to be the Radeon GPU basically has 1.84 teraflops of processing power. So it's a beefy GPU. And they even talked about how as a developer, you can basically offload a bunch of your programming to the GPU for the first time. Previous versions of the PlayStation was kind of different with a cell chip. You could have each individual cell doing different things. This one is kind of the same way, but you have 8 cores on your CPU, and then you can also offload things to the GPU. One of the demos that they showed is they had little blue things, or little Viagra, as one of the videos that came out after.
Are you going to play that video?
No, I'll put a link to it. People can play it themselves. This is 3 minute.
It's hilarious.
It's 3 minute kind of rundown of what they said. But anyway, they dropped 1 million of these objects from the sky into this world, and they all just worked. There was no choppiness. It basically figured out how all these objects were interacting with each other, and that was running solely on the GPU, which is like, holy crap. This means that AI, this means that physics, this means that all the really hard to do things are now easy. They even showed like Unreal Engine 4, which is a CPU's nightmare, but if you have a beefy GPU, it's happy. And they showed all the awesomeness, like that big lava lord pulling a sword out and it's dripping lava, and each drop of lava is giving off its own light and lighting the environment as it's falling. And it's like, wow, I want to play a game that looks like that.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. Now, like, I don't want to. I don't think that they were being dishonest here, but like my BS sensor went off a little bit when they're like, "Here's 1 million blue dot things they're gonna fit." Like, who can count them? There's no way to know if it's 1 million.
Well,
you know, they could put up like 10,000. Doesn't matter. But I think that what that represented, because it was a stupid thing to have like, oh, some balls fall from the sky and you can see them scatter.
Yep.
But if you really kind of think about it, it was really interesting to kind of go like, okay, you know, like now we can have like environmentally aware rain and particles, you know, like hunks of building can come down and scatter, you know, in a realistic way, and rain can come down and snow can come down, and all these kind of things can just like be affected in the environment. And the cool thing about it is that it's not going to cook your console's processor to death and make everything slow down. Because in this generation, a lot of people are doing that. You know, DICE with their engine, you know, has the destructible environments. But if you're on an Xbox or PS3 or whatever, you know, if it's not a PC, there's a lot of frame rate issues when stuff like that happens, you know, because the console's like, damn it, you know, I don't have enough to keep going, but everything is happening, and you're not looking away, and I've got to render all this stuff, and it's like crap. So the frame rate drops significantly in some areas, and now that's not going to be a problem. So that was really, really cool. Yeah,
it was kind of cool, and even more so, basically past unveilings like the PlayStation, they talked about all the hundreds of triangles that could be rendered on the screen at once. PlayStation 2 was like, look, we have 1 million triangles on the screen, and then the PlayStation 3 is like, look at all these awesome triangles. We're pushing so many triangles, it's amazing. And then the PlayStation 4, it's like, we're dropping 1 million fully rendered objects, randomly created objects into a scene that is already fully rendered. Yeah, there's a lot of triangles, but we're not going to talk about the triangles because it looks freaking amazing is essentially what it is.
Like probably the first 25-30 minutes of the show before they got into game stuff was just that, like, here's our tech wankery where we're just gonna, you know, like throw numbers at you that you don't understand because you're a game journalist and you really don't care about that kind of shit. It was, you know, it was bizarre because there was a lot of stuff that was way over my head. I'm like, what the hell are they talking about?
Okay, well, I guess I know a lot about PC stuff. I do a lot of stuff for a living, and so it was like, oh yeah, that's cool. To touch a little bit on that demo that you said was like they could be BSing us. That's actually a demo that comes with the with the dev kit. So all the developers out there can actually look at the demo and see how many actual little blue Vigors are falling down. So
yeah, I
they weren't lying.
They were actually lying.
But
I'm just saying, like, you know what?
For me,
it's pretty easy to just say it. And
yeah. But just the way that they showed it, it's like previous demos are like showing a rubber duck floating in water and realistic water effects. It's like, yeah, that's kind of cool. But this is like, holy crap. I could blow up a building and all the individual pieces can rain down now, and that could all be done off of the main CPU, which is crazy. Other stuff, PlayStation 4 has the Blu-ray obviously, but it's not Blu-ray 2X. It's 6X and 8X, which is really great. So that means games will load faster. It'll also play DVDs as well. It will have 8 gigs of internal memory. So as a game developer, you can have lots of RAM, which is really, really great.
Yeah, so let's actually talk about the RAM really quickly because it was kind of almost set in stone that the PS3 was going to launch with 4, and the new Xbox is said to launch with 6, and now they're like, oh, no, it's going to be 8. I get the feeling like that was kind of a last minute decision where they're like, let's go with 8, be bigger than the Xbox, and now the Xbox has got to compete with us.
I think it's
8's a lot.
I think it's marketing, to be honest with you, because this is what they're calling unified RAM. So your CPU and your GPU share the same pool. So
it's GDDR3 too, which is like a pretty beefy RAM.
Yeah, it's really super fast. But what they're probably going to have is 6 gigs for main memory and 2 gigs for the graphics processor, I would assume. That'll be the normal split, but I guess as a game developer, you can really kind of allocate as much as you want, I guess. I haven't looked at any of the development tools, obviously, since I'm not a developer, but maybe you can do that. It also has built-in Wi-Fi 802.11n, which is kind of cool, USB 3 ports, Bluetooth, blah, 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 blah. All the normal stuff that it would have. One other thing that came out after the event is that it has the ability to show 4K video. So if you are one of the people that is going to buy a 4K television once they become more commonplace and not like mortgage your house expensive, you can play video at 4K, but it will not support games at 4K. So I guess maybe there isn't enough bandwidth, or maybe it'll just require a firmware update in the future. But they said as of right now, it can play video, but it cannot output games. What it will do is it'll upscale, but the actual rendering will still be 1080p, upscaled to 4K. Which is like, meh, whatever. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, the 4K thing is like, I don't really care. And like, the thing is, I produce video, right? Like, I live in that world all the time, and I still don't care. I think 4K is great if you're going to a theater so you can notice it. But if you're watching it on your TV at home, you're just an asshole.
Well, I mean, it looks better than 1080p, just like 1080p looks better than 720p, and 720p looks better than 480p. But it's going to be so expensive to replace all of the 1080p and 720p televisions with 4K. It's going to be years before there's even a 10% uptake by all the people out there. I was talking to my buddy who works at a post-production house in Hollywood, and he basically said that pretty much no movies have their masters done in 4K because it's just too cost prohibitive, and the actual tools just run so slow because you need beefy horsepower to push around that kind of video. So
the workflow is big time. I mean, if even just like kind of getting in baseline 4K, if you're going to buy a Red camera or a Blackmagic Cinema camera, they have dedicated machines to do that workflow just to process the footage so you can actually look at dailies and then start to edit it and log it and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, it's big time.
Yeah, because
it's just too much.
For The Hobbit, it was filmed primarily in 4K and 6K. But their master is just standard 2K. They didn't even master the movie in 4K. It's like, what? How is that even possible? You would think it would be 18K because they're idiots with this movie. But whatever. So yeah, it's going to be a long time before 4K video becomes even
probably when the PlayStation 5 comes out, you might see it start to become a little bit more normal.
There's just not enough bandwidth to push that over cable.
Yeah.
It's
and the thing is,
on
people still don't even really understand HD, oh man, I can't remember who I was talking to. It might be a friend or something, but they were like, yeah, my mom has an HD cable box. And they're like, okay, that's, they were telling us the story of this, and they were like, that's great, Mom, but this doesn't look HD. And she's like, no, it is. And, she just had it hooked up like a normal receiver. She has the box, thought her picture looked better, has no idea what an HDMI cable is. That's like to educate people on 4K would be insane.
That's like Kara's grandfather. When I first bought my first flat panel, it was just like a 32-inch 720p, so it was nothing special, but it was expensive at the time, and he loved it so much because I was showing him stuff in HD that he went and bought one, and he has like just standard like plug in a cable to his television, so he's watching like crappy cloudy cable, and he's like, yeah, this is great, look how awesome it looks. I'm like, but it sure, yeah, it looks good. I don't want to get into it. It looks awesome. It's SD. But yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But 4K, I mean, the amount of bandwidth required to even bring that signal to your television is just, I mean, you're going to need new receivers. You're going to need new cable boxes. Like, everything's going to have to be replaced once 4K
the infrastructure at, like, every provider of cable television is going to have to change.
Yep.
And then people are going to have to, like, okay, so we have to buy a camera now that broadcasts 4K, which I don't even know if they exist, actually, to be honest with you. So, like, I don't know if there's any news organization in the world that has a 4K camera in their studio.
No, they barely have 4K reference monitors because they're so expensive. So
yeah,
it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Anyway, that's enough talking about 4K. This isn't.
Yeah, we had a weird tangent there, just like stuck on that point.
I was trying to get past it, and you kept bringing me back, and I kept talking, and I was like, no, I gotta get past it. Then you keep bringing me back. Stop it, Jeff.
All right.
Stop it. Let's talk about the controller.
Yes, let's talk about that shitty controller, the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life.
So the controller is essentially the same as it ever was. It looks just like a DualShock, except it's got a couple more buttons and it's got a big touchpad in the middle of it. So
it's fat and ugly, and they're like, hey, we have a share button and a light so you can see like what player they are. Like, are you out of your mind?
That's not what it is. So basically it's a standard DualShock. It's a little bit the wings are a little bit longer and it's a little bit fatter. And what it has is on the back of it, up to the top of it, where normally if you have a PlayStation 3 where the lights flash to tell you what player you are, it has a PlayStation Move I guess light panel on it. So they said it can change color to show what player you are. That's baloney. What it is for is the PlayStation 4 will have a new PlayStation Eye, which actually has 2 cameras and 4 microphones, which picks you up in dual 720p video. And it using that light panel, it can actually tell 3D depth. So essentially, it's a Kinect, and you'll be able to use that functionality with just the controller that you have in your hand. You don't need to buy a PlayStation Move controller because your PlayStation 4 controller has some of that built into it, which is kind of cool. And you said it also has the share buttons, which is true. When you're playing the game, you hit the share button, and what it does is it brings you to a sub menu that allows you to rewind like the last 15 minutes or something of gameplay that you've played, which is automatically being stored constantly as you do it. You can clip out a little part or clip out an image, hit share, and it gets pushed up to YouTube, gets pushed up to Ustream, whatever, Facebook, whatever you have linked to your account, which is kind of cool. The play-alongs are huge on the internet. People make lots of money. People don't work because they make play-alongs and they make so much money off of YouTube. Now that is built right into your console.
Yeah, I want to talk about that because there's a bunch of interesting stuff here with the share button, because I think it was weird to see it. I really did not expect it. Like, hey, there's a share button here and you can share, and it goes up to Ustream. I think Ustream is fine, but I think Twitch is better. So, if you were watching the stream, it was on Ustream and it was lagging a bunch, but they were having 600,000 people watch it. So,
it was pushing 1 million by the time they got to the end of it across all the people that were doing repeaters and stuff. It was stupid.
Totally expected. But
They announced Facebook and they announced Ustream because they have to partner with somebody. I'm sure that everybody else will come along with them as well.
Oh, for sure. But here's my my thought process here is that all these people who I have a YouTube channel. I put up gameplay. I do gameplay commentaries. It's not popular, but I do it as a hobby. But there are people who have 2 million subscribers or whatever, and that's their full-time job. They're making $800,000 a year making videos on the internet. If you can use this share feature, what's the revenue sharing like? Because now Sony is using their architecture to upload it to your channel. Are they going to be putting their ads on Ustream? Are you going to get a share of those ads?
They haven't said what they're going to be doing. Obviously, you can link it to your channel, just like you can link it to your Facebook. I'm sure there'll be a way to link it up to YouTube, and it'll be published up to your YouTube channel. So it'll probably just be another way for you to get to clip the video and shoot it up to whatever channel that you want. I don't think Sony wants to take ownership of this stuff. They want people to use it, because the more people that use it in the way that they're already doing video, the more publicity it gets just from the fact that they are using a built-in tool.
Yeah, and I don't think that I don't think a lot of these bigger YouTubers or Ustreamers or Twitchers are going to actually use it, because I've got an HD PVR right here. Everybody else who is in that industry has one as well, and a lot of people like they capture the footage and then they sit on it for a few days and then edit it and they put a voiceover on it.
Yeah.
It's a lot more intensive, but it's a very interesting feature.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny that they had said they're like, yeah, you no longer have to just share screenshots. I'm like, who's doing that? What the hell are you talking about sharing screenshots?
I mean, well, a lot of people that don't have money to buy like a PVR or some sort of Hopage capture card to do this. So this is going to bring it to the masses. Other things that I've seen in screenshots is you can have your face appear on that video that's shared, because it can also record video from the camera.
Yeah.
All sorts of things.
Is that friendly?
This is pretty huge. This is pretty huge. Like this is a huge thing that will be used a lot. A couple other things with the system itself. There is a built-in CPU just for managing system level tasks. So when you're doing game downloads, when it's automatically pushing stuff to your system, that doesn't tax your CPU at all. So you could be playing a game and all that stuff is just happening in the background, which is pretty cool. It also has built-in H.264 encoder and decoder chips. So you could be encoding and decoding a stream at the same time, and that is not taking over your CPU because it's all being handled by some other thing in your box, which is great. That means that you could be streaming live video of your game, which is another thing that the share, they talked about the share, which is the ability to hit broadcast. You hit a broadcast button, you say, I want to have my video, I want to have my audio, and basically on the home screen, this new redesigned interface, if someone is your friend, they can actually watch you play your game. They can post comments to you while you're playing the game. They can even request control, and you can give them control of your game so they can get you past an area that you couldn't beat. They could come in multiplayer. There's all sorts of different things that they can do, and it's all through the share functionality. So they had the idea to have screenshots and videos shared quickly and easily. Now they've built this whole other thing around it where, holy crap, each of us could be broadcasting. It's what all those crappy online streaming boxes said that they were going to be, but it never worked out. I mean, Sony bought Gaikai, which is, we'll talk about that a little bit later, which is built into the system. But that's what Gaikai wanted to be. It wanted to be basically you play a game that's in the cloud somewhere and you're just streaming it, and they were going to sell you a box that had like a decoder in it so it could decode the stream really fast without any latency. Now that is built right into the system. So I'm sure Sony has a lot more to talk about this feature. They showed a couple little quick demos, like just through, like they had a kind of like a sizzler reel that had a couple different things happening. I've seen some screenshots post the event, and it looks really cool. I'm not a guy that likes to watch play-alongs. I'm not a guy that really is interested in making play-alongs, but there's a lot of people that do, and it basically gives them a tool to do it. It's like the Source video editing and video creation tool. You could probably make a movie with Half-Life 2 using Gary's mod really painstakingly to do it. Then Valve just gave you the Source video editing tool, which is basically a way to take all the objects, set them up, make them animate, move, blah, 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 boom, you're done. You made your video. So just by giving them another tool, there's a whole bunch of movies that have been made that are really fun to watch, just by giving a tool to the end user. So I think Sony doesn't really know exactly what's going to happen here, but I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that's just going to crop up just because it exists in the system.
I think ISPs are going to start to get pissed off. They're like, why is everybody uploading so much shit all of a sudden?
Yeah, I think ISPs should shut up and become the pipe that we all pay for. Just like buy water.
ISPs are the worst.
Like, should we pay more because we use our water in our toilet and we make ice cubes out of different water, of course, not the water that was in the toilet? I didn't want to confuse anybody in the chat room, so you can keep your questions to yourself. It's just like, sell me a pipe and who cares what I do with the pipe, right?
Yeah, oh man, Trevor in the chat room hit it. I hate Shot too. They're the worst.
Yeah, me too. All right, let's move on. Let's get into games.
I just want to finish. I got to ask you, the controller. Do you think it looks good? I think it's just ugly as hell.
It looks like a DualShock controller. It just has that touchpad, and
Yeah,
apparently
but it's like fatter and it just looks squatty, and like I don't like it at all.
I don't know.
And that's just me.
I don't know. Did you like the boomerang controller, the PlayStation 3 boomerang
that
controller
silver one? Yeah.
that looked like a batarang?
No, I did not like that.
That was horrible.
ugly.
This at least looks like it looks like a DualShock. It looks like the controller has looked like for the past 20 years. It just I don't know. It looks a little bit different. They've changed some things. The touchpad is really weird. They didn't say what it's for. I read an interview after where they said that you can use it to quickly page through screens in the user interface. It's like, okay, well, it has to be more than that.
The thumb's already on the thumbstick.
Yeah, like it doesn't make sense. Like, why would I take my thumb off the thumbstick and swipe on the screen? Like, it's like, it seems to me to be similar to when the PlayStation 3 was first announced, that the DualShock would come with it, but it wasn't a DualShock because it didn't have rumble in it because they were going through patent litigation.
Yeah.
But it had the accelerometers built into it.
The 6-axis.
It's like, we can do Wii stuff as well. Look at this. I'm controlling a dragon. The game is horrible, but I'm controlling a dragon. I think this seems to be a little bit of a Me Too. It's like, well, we can do iOS touch as well because it's built right into our controller. Look, you can touch the controller. I don't know how it's going to be used. It doesn't seem like it fits on that controller. The move stuff seems really cool.
Because a lot of people were giving me a hard time on Twitter the other day when they were like, oh, don't talk shit about the controller. You haven't held it yet. And I'm like, you know what? That's a good point. I think it looks ugly, but I have not held it yet. And that's really the true test. I mean,
sure.
I could think a controller is ugly as hell. The Nintendo 64 controller is an ugly hunk of crap, but it was nice to hold. It felt good in your hands.
The original Xbox controller that was as big as some people's like kitchen tables,
like this big, and you're like, okay, so like the joystick is like your entire hand.
It's an Etch-a-Sketch that you play games with. It was the weirdest thing, but it was comfortable when you held it. Like, I still have one of my old like original Xbox controllers, and it's just like, this thing is so huge. What were they thinking? Kids can't play this, but it was comfortable for me. Obviously, it wasn't comfortable for the masses, so they went back to the drawing board and came up with the S, which
is a great iteration of that controller.
Yeah, with buttons in weird places, but it still worked. It was better than the big Hurricane big one.
Yeah, I will reserve my actual opinion. I think it's ugly, but I have no idea how it's going to handle, and that's really where it is. It's performance, how it feels in the hands, how good the buttons feel, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, let's get into the games here.
Sure. So they showed off a chunk of games. The first one they showed off was some little robot guy that would
Clink.
explode.
Stupid.
Yeah, it looked like something that I would be playing on the Wii U. So, which isn't a bad thing. It's not insulting. It just looks like a Wii U game.
I thought it looked stupid, but I didn't think it looked like, okay, this is a bad game. I just think it looks stupid. If for the first game you're going to show for the PS4, that's what you go with.
It looked nice. It looked like it looked like a Pixar movie.
Pixar, yeah.
It looked really good.
A poor Pixar movie, but it looked like one, yeah.
But yeah, it's that game. Then they broke into Killzone 3,
which I think they probably should have started with, in my opinion. Anyway.
I would think so. This showed off an amazing world. They had you basically landing from a helicopter, and they had this like really great depth of field effect. They had you're in a helicopter holding on, and this little flap of
these skyscrapers. They're like 300 stories, and there's waterfalls coming off the side too. Did you notice that?
Yeah, it was bizarre, but they had this like
walking down below. They're like, this building is awful.
Why does it keep peeing on me? I don't get this. It had this like little flap of fabric that kept flapping in the wind, and it looked realistic. It didn't look like it was bending on like 3 places. It looked like it was real fabric. It was like, wow, this looks really amazing. And then they landed.
They put that there for our benefit too.
Oh, totally. Then they got off the plane or off the helicopter and walked around. You went through a body scanner, yada yada yada. And then the cool stuff happened. Basically, a guy gets shot in the face with a guy that was in disguise, and then you pull out your gun, which apparently you had, and you start sniping people and shooting people in the head, and it's just like, holy crap. And not only did it look good, but the world was super detailed. There was particles like up the wazoo. It was amazing. And then the first thing I thought was, yep, they're just showing a video. Like, that's what they did with the last Killzone, and when the game shipped, it didn't look anything like this. Well, then Stephen Totillo, or Totillo,
Yeah.
I can't pronounce his name when it's like midnight. That's really weird. Anyway, he basically tweeted out that it's running. Someone was actually holding a controller and playing the game live on stage. So it was running on prototype hardware. So that is what the game engine looks like, and it looks amazing. It looks really nice.
It looks really strong, and I always hate talking about stuff like this, where it's like, yeah, it looks great. How it plays is really what matters to me. But I can't deny that I was looking at some of this footage and going, holy shit. And my stream actually dropped in quality. So I was looking at it in standard def and it was kind of stuttering. And I was like, man, I can still tell that this looks freaking insane.
Yep.
And, the seamless transitions, I think that's one of the hardest things in games right now to do. And only a few do it well. But the seamless transitions from cutscene into gameplay is really where like the technology I think shines, because you're like, okay, this is a cutscene, I'm watching it, I'm not moving around, then all of a sudden, boom, I'm like, okay, and now I'm moving and nothing has really changed. So that's really strong. But it, at the end of the day, Killzone is just shooting guys, and it was like, but I mean, it was cool, and I loved Killzone. Killzone 2 I thought was awesome. And this isn't Killzone 3, by the way. This is Killzone hyphen something. Killzone 3 was on the PS3, which also was a really solid game. I love that one too.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's Killzone 4. It was Killzone 4, but it was Killzone something. It was like
some sort of subtitle. I can't remember what it was called. But it looks very promising, and I'm like, that looks awesome. I really want to play that.
Totally. Let's hit these other ones quicker because we're pushing 2 hours already. They showed off Infamous Second Son, which is a new version of Infamous. I love the world of Infamous. This basically, it looks like you're not Cole, but it looks like you might be the son of Cole because it's Second Son with SON. It looks amazing. Your Cole, whoever the person is in this game, you have the ability to explode and basically move through smoke. So you become a smoke monster and you move from one area to another and you teleport. It just looks stupid. The game looked unbelievably awesome. So I can't wait to play that one. I'm a huge Infamous fan.
I just didn't like how when they came out on stage and they're like, when there's cameras everywhere and the cops aren't really good people. I'm like, well, this sounds like a cool, interesting game. And they're like, no, it's just Infamous. I'm like,
yeah, but that
was a bait and switch.
That was about the best intro to any of the games that they showed off. It
Absolutely,
wasn't four awkward dudes standing on the stage with one guy talking and the other three guys just kind of standing there.
It looks so. What were they doing with their hands? Stop touching your thighs, Destiny Group.
It was really really weird. Anyway, they showed off Watch Dogs.
Oh my god,
which looks crazy. They let some details of the game go just by the fact that they showed it on stage, where one guy is controlling the main guy, who I can't remember what his name is, but
Watch or Dog or something. Who cares?
I can't remember what his name is. We'll call him Yo Dog. And he's going through and he hacks someone's bank account, and then takes money out, and then the cops come and get him, and he basically hacks. He hacks this little thing that makes concrete pillars rise up on the street, so he wrecks a cop car that way. Then he hacks something else, the lights, so cars go through, or whatever it was. I can't remember exactly what happened.
Yeah, like at the beginning, he's following this woman, and he hacks her phone, and it's like, oh, the possibility of a crime here is really high, so he follows her, and then I guess her ex that she's fighting with put a restraining order on, like comes out and like attacks her at knife point. So you're like, hey, stop, and then he f's off, and you go and chase him down,
and you're doing all this stuff.
It looks so awesome, and I'm glad that it's also coming out on Xbox 360 and PS3. It's not just
Wii U, and so it's not
glad.
just next gen. It's going to be on everything.
To buy this console to play this game because that's a buy on launch, man.
Totally. And then they continue on where he hacks the subways, and then eventually he gets on the subway, and then they showed someone else's name above a security camera, and then they showed the view from someone else looking at this guy going on a subway. So essentially what they said is that this is going to be a big persistent world, and everybody's going to be playing in the world. Maybe not everybody in the same world. There might be multiple copies of that world, but you'll be able to help people. You'll be able to screw them up. You'll be able to be a jerk or be a nice guy. This game,
it's a very great concept.
It became so much more interesting to me by watching that little like 5-minute demo that they showed off.
Yeah. I was
really
like,
cool.
man, this is rad. Can't wait to play it. Take my money now.
And then they had Jonathan Blow came out, the creator of Braid came out, and he showed off his next game called The Witness, which is like
awesome.
hypercolor mist. Essentially, it's like mist with like color, lots of color, and lots of like color. It looks really good.
Is it just me, or does it seem like he didn't want to be there?
That's him. Every time I've seen in like a recorded presentation that he's given, or even like on Indie Game the Movie, he just doesn't seem to like people. Which I guess is why he's making games. So, Witness looks really cool. That'll be a day one purchase for me. It looks like a really awesome puzzle game. They had a couple megatons near the end. The Destiny team came out and showed off Destiny, which I joked must mean that somewhere in Redmond, Washington, there's lots of chairs being thrown around the Microsoft towers, just because Bungie was Microsoft for the longest time, and now Bungie's on the reveal for the PlayStation 4, which is great. I mean, obviously it's multi-platform, so why wouldn't it be there? But they showed the first in-engine footage of Destiny actually running. They had a video playing. Looks really, really cool, and they basically just said that it's a big open world, and you'll be taking part in it. Enjoy.
I think the greatest part about that presentation for me, when you kind of stop looking at how awkward they all look on stage, because it was ridiculous to have that many people out there, was just they gave us just enough to say, hey, this is the game, but now we're going to stop showing you things. Go ahead and talk about it and rip your hair out, and we'll talk to you at E3. It was a really, really great happy medium. Like, here's some stuff you want to know, and too effing bad on the other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was really, really cool. And then after that, they had Blizzard came out, and we're like, holy crap, Blizzard, this is going to be awesome. And then they had the
Diablo 3.
It's like, I still want to play Diablo 3 on a console. I think it's much more suited for a console. Yeah. But where's WoW? Where's WoW 2? Where's something new? The cool thing about Diablo 3 is Blizzard has an agreement with Sony, so Diablo 3 will be on the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4. It will not be on Xbox, at least not until that agreement runs out. So if WoW does hit consoles, that is going to be a huge win for Sony.
Yes,
huge win.
And not like Microsoft is going to suffer because of it, but I mean, obviously, the Sony is going to do well because
Blizzard is the biggest holdout right now. Like, Valve makes games that run on both consoles, so Blizzard is about the only major huge manufacturer right now that doesn't have any of their games on anything other than PC, and now they're basically saying, we're friends with Sony. Microsoft's got to be pissed off about that. That is a huge win for Sony.
Before we move on, there's two more I just want to really quickly talk about that were embarrassing and stupid, and if you were of that company, you should be ashamed of yourself. Media Molecule's demo was awful.
Yeah, they basically use the PlayStation Move controllers as a sculpting tool out of clay. Stupid. And then they made their clay things dance, and then the dance turned into some sort of rock band thing.
And the other one was Square Enix once again proving why their company will be dead in 3 years. They're like, hey, here's this video you've already seen a bunch of times. And now we got the guy who is our lead creative guy on Final Fantasy, who is just about to die.
He's got to show something. He's got to show something good, right?
Yeah, and then he comes out and goes, so we are in works to develop something. Bye. It's like, what the hell was that?
Please come to E3. Please come to E3.
I was so pissed. I'm like, the thing is, I don't even really care about Final Fantasy anymore, but I want Square Enix to be the company they used to be, and I don't think they'll ever get back there. I think that they're just their pedigree has dropped off. Their quality is so far away from what it used to be. It's really sad to see, because they're a great company. They just are idiots apparently for the last half decade and longer, actually, really.
Oh wow. Awesome. Okay, cool. Moving on. So they showed off the games. One little tidbit is the fact that the PlayStation 4 will be you'll be able to interact with it with pretty much any console or any tablet or any phone. So you'll be able to do stuff on your PlayStation 4. I said PlayStation 3. I meant PlayStation 4. With pretty much anything. So you'll be able to use a second screen something. So whether it's your iPad or Sony tablet, I say that as a joke because no one has a Sony tablet, but whatever. And they also announced that every PlayStation 4 game will be able to be played on your Vita. And
that was bold. I was surprised they said everyone.
Everyone. And they're doing that through their partnership with Gaikai. Sony bought Gaikai, which is a company that was basically trying to be OnLive. It was trying to do the exact same thing as OnLive. And basically how they're going to do this PlayStation 4 game running on your Vita is basically they're going to run a Gaikai server on your PlayStation 4, so that becomes a server, and then your tablet or your Vita or whatever else becomes your client. And they're saying because it's going to be 802.11n and proprietary protocols, it's going to be super, super low latency. So you're going to be able to play any game that way. Surprising. I hope that is true, because that would be really awesome to play. Yeah. To play like Ni no Kuni like while I'm laying in bed before I go to sleep. Like that would just be amazing. So I'm really excited about that.
Maybe not problem, but my worry is there's not enough buttons on the. I mean, you got the touch panels and stuff like that, but like you're missing 2 shoulder buttons. You're missing the click of the control sticks. Yeah, now that's 4 buttons right there that they have to account for now, and I don't know.
They're probably going to have a streaming. They're probably going to have a like as a game developer, since Sony is pretty much telling you have to have Vita crossplay. They're probably going to have a simplified control mode that fires up when you do the streaming to your Vita. Like that would be the only way to do it. Yeah. It's not going to be pretty. I know it's going to be like super difficult for developers to begin with, but then it'll just go away. It'll become a thing that always happens, and it won't be a big deal. Yeah, which will be fine. But I totally get where you're coming from. The first maybe year or so is going to be rough, but it's going to be there, and then they're going to have to. Hey, we fulfilled our promise. It's there. It's their idea. They've got to make it good and stuff, but they'll figure it out. I mean, it's smart people, obviously, working on games. So totally, or on some games anyway. They also basically said that there will be no backwards compatibility. So
go to hell, Sony. Thanks a lot for screwing us again.
All those discs that you've always been able to play. So Sony has always given us backwards compatibility. They built the PlayStation 1 chip, the Emotion Engine, into the PlayStation 2 so that you can play all your PlayStation 1 games on your PlayStation 2. They did the same thing with PlayStation 3. They had the first rev of PlayStation 3. It actually had a PlayStation 2 chip in it. So that
and all of them have PS1 chips still.
And they all have PS1 chips. PS1 chips actually control when it's not playing a PlayStation 1 game. That's how all of your inputs are handled with the system, which is actually kind of cool. So the PlayStation 1 is only good enough to control the inputs of all the controllers now, because things have progressed so far. So that's how that's happening. It also used to have a PlayStation 2 chip. That's taken out. They had software backwards compatibility for a while, and that's taken out. So there's no backwards compatibility. So when they did
it's
that,
a Blu-ray. It's still a Blu-ray disc player. Like, what the hell is up with these people? It doesn't make any sense. So that was one of the biggest things.
The backwards compatibility issue is because it's changed from being a PowerPC processor, which is like Apple's used to be PowerPC.
Oh, okay.
And they're moving to PC technology, so a standard PC chip essentially. So you can't take a program that would run on PowerPC and run it on a PC like an Intel or AMD chipset. Right.
That's fair, because the trade-off is it's significantly easy to develop for, which is the problem they got into with the PS3. It was notoriously difficult. So then I don't have as much of a problem there.
Essentially, the hardware between the Xbox Next and the PlayStation 4 are going to be exactly the same. Essentially, like they'll be very similar to each other. So if you're a developer, and if you have your development tools set up right, you hit compile for Xbox, compile for PlayStation 4, boom, you're done. You're going for lunch, and you're shipping 2 games.
It should be done before noon.
Exactly, should be really good. They have said that with the purchase of Gaikai, what they want to do is have instant game demos available. So any game that is available, you'll be able to stream a game demo right from the unit. So you'll be able to play pretty much any game from a demo purpose anyway. And they also said that's how they're going to do backwards compatibility. So you'll be able to play PlayStation 3 games, maybe PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1 games, maybe through streaming through the Gaikai service.
Gotta buy them again, though.
I don't understand how they're going to do that. Are you going to have to put the disc in and then it streams? Maybe they'll do it that way. They haven't announced any of that, so it's all speculation at this point. Yeah. But basically, all the PlayStation Network stuff that you've bought up to this point, it's essentially done. You can't carry it forward. At least no way that you can carry it forward now. Maybe they'll have some sort of emulation or streaming in the future. Not available right now.
Yeah.
The one thing that they ended the presentation with is that the system will be out this holiday season. So it was like boom, holiday season, dropped the mic, and they walked off the stage.
You think November?
I'm thinking November's always been kind of the rumor. November 20th or whatever. That would probably be a really good guess if you wanted to put money on it in Vegas. I would bet on that number. They didn't announce anything else. They didn't show us what it looks like. They just showed us the controller. They said the design's not done yet, which is kind of bullshit, but
they didn't tell us the price.
They didn't tell us the price at all. So all that stuff will probably come out at E3. I guess they just wanted to get lots of lots of goodwill from the consumer base. But this whole
my feeling on prices, they haven't decided how much it's going to cost yet. I really think that that's the case.
Yeah, I think if they're either going to do the two extremes. It's either going to be $299 and it's going to undercut what the PlayStation 3 is right now. The system comes with a hard drive and all that stuff. It's going it has built-in AI components where it knows what kind of games you like and it will automatically start downloading games that it thinks you will like. Bless you.
Sorry.
I muted you before you
hurt the chest.
Destroyed the mic. So it's gonna have all this stuff. They're either gonna do something stupid, like it'll be like $249 or $299, like some stupidly ridiculously cheap price, or it's gonna be $499, $599, $699. It'll be like the normal PlayStation 3, what it was when it launched price. So we'll find out at E3, I assume. I'm hoping more for the $299, which will just be kind of like a holy crap, this is amazingly cheap and Microsoft is in trouble kind of price, because then that means that Microsoft will be cheap, which means that we all win as gamers, that all this hardware will be incredibly cheap. But I think if I had to bet right now, I'd probably say $449 or $399 will be the price.
I'm thinking between $450 and $500, and I think there will only be one bundle at launch, and it's your all-in package.
Yeah. And they haven't said, they unveiled the new PlayStation Eye, which I said is 2 cameras and 4 microphones, so you can do probably some form of voice control, yada, 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 Connect kind of stuff, whatever. But they haven't said if this is going to come with the device or if it's going to be a purchase after the fact. They haven't really said anything. So E3 will be really interesting, and it's very close. It's like a few months away, so we'll learn more at E3, I'm assuming.
So yeah, send us your thoughts, VGPodcasts@gmail.com. Let us know what you think about this. We'll read them on the next show if you guys send some responses in, because I know that everybody's talking about it. I know that it's a lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it. I'm kind of in the middle. I thought they did an okay job, but I thought, the things I really wanted to know, price, what it looks like, weren't shown. But the great stuff is that, hey, they came out there and they're like, in a roundabout way, kind of apologized for the PS3 and said, hey, this time we're making this thing for developers. It's going to be great for developers. They're going to love it. The games, of course, will follow because of that. So gamers will love it. It's all this, let's love everything kind of thing. Yeah. So I loved that. I thought it was great. Some of the presentations were terrible. Some of them were really good. The David Cage from Heavy Rain, whatever, Quantic
Dreams.
Quantic Dream.
Yeah, they showed that
tech demo was awesome.
An amazingly detailed head. It looked like a real person. Like it was photorealistic.
Uncanny Valley.
It wasn't even Uncanny Valley. It was past Uncanny Valley.
That's true, yeah, because it didn't look creepy.
Yeah, it was just like, holy crap. They said they developed new skin shaders that have translucency and they have reflection off the blood that's flowing under the skin, and it's just like, wow, you guys are way too smart. I don't even want to talk to you anymore because you make me sad that my brain does not function on the same level as you guys. That looks amazing. Obviously their games will not look that amazing, but the fact that the PS4 can do that has me really happy. Yeah,
it's gonna be fantastic. So, like I said, thought it was cool, but also thought parts of it were stupid. I think overall it was a good event. It just went too damn long. That's another thing. It was way too long.
It was 2 hours, just like the show.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the show was 2 hours.
So yeah, that's PlayStation 4. The
show is never too long, though, Lloyd. Our show is never too long.
That's true. People love us.
Yeah, we're entertaining front to back. That's why the chat room is almost dead.
They're all asleep right now.
Yeah.
And Corky Dog just joined the channel just as we're ending. You're 2 hours late, Corky.
And Operator Al's in here now too.
Yeah. It's they keep showing up. This is awesome. I love you guys. You guys are all awesome. All right, well, that is our mega PlayStation 4 rundown. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Our thoughts. Hopefully, you'll let us know what your thoughts are. You can head on over to the forums as well. Go to VGPodcasts.com/forums or just VGPodcasts.com. Click contact us, or click the forums link at the top of the page. Jump in, chat with all of us out there. A lot of people hang out in the forums and chat. I'd like to hear what all your opinions are on the PlayStation 4. I was really excited when I saw the Infamous demo. I was like, I want that right now. I want to play it immediately. And then post event, I've kind of cooled off on the device a little bit. I'm not like throwing my money at the screen anymore. I'm more kind of waiting to see what happens at E3, but I'm sure I will own one of these pretty soon after launch, if not on launch day. It looks really amazing.
I feel at this point, I'm going to be waiting at least a year. But E3 is that'll be a big tell. We'll see how many exclusives come out. We'll see what their launch window is going to look like for their launch library. That might make me, a little bit more antsy to get one, but I will not buy one at launch. I can tell you that right now. I don't want to wait in line for stuff like that. Even though I feel like I get a lot of value out of my Vita, I still feel like I got burned a little bit buying that at launch. So I do want to step back a bit. And if the price is like $550, I'll be like, whoa, you know what? It's about to be Christmas. I can't spend that kind of money at that point. So it'll be interesting. I think we've got a very interesting year ahead of us here for games. It's only February, and a lot of interesting stuff is happening. E3 is going to be one of the biggest we've ever seen. The ball's in Microsoft's court now. I'm very curious to see what they're going to do. I know that they're probably just kind of waiting for popular opinion on how Sony did, and they're like, well, we'll change our kind of strategy accordingly and see what we can do and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be. I really want to see what the damn thing looks like. I was pissed that we didn't get to see it.
Yeah, I mean that'll come, right?
But I mean, like, it's just going to be a stupid black box. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be black. It's going to have blue lights and green lights and probably orange and red lights as well. 4
on it.
And that'll be what it does. It'll be.
I hope at E3 they're just like, there's like an old PS3 like model, and they just like crossed out the 3 and put like Scotch tape and wrote 4 on it.
Or that
would be awesome.
Even better, it'll be they said, yeah, you remember how you said the PlayStation 3 looks like a Foreman grill? Well, the PlayStation 4 is a Foreman grill, and it will actually play games as well. You can cook your bacon and play your games at the exact same time.
Okay, if that happened, buy on launch.
Buy for lunch, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I do.
It would be tasty. Yeah, so that's about it for the show. Thanks, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for staying tuned. And sorry for missing last week. It was kind of a last-minute thing, but thanks for everybody that popped by and joined the Nintendo Pulse that we aired instead. It was nice to chat with all you guys about that as well. But yeah, that's going to about do it for episode 21. This podcast is now old enough to drink in the U.S., so it's going to go and get drunk right now.
You mean go to sleep?
I'm going to sleep, but the podcast is going to go off somewhere. It's going to go drink somewhere.
I'm going to play some Mass Effect.
Might be going to Tijuana, maybe. I don't know. Something like that. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, like I said, and we will chat with you guys next week. Head on over to VGPodcasts.com. Click contact us at the top of the page to send us an email. Email us directly at VGPodcasts@gmail.com. Join our forums. Let us know what you think of the PlayStation 4. And call our voicemail line, which is area code 505 VG Podcasts, which is area code 505-847-6322. All right, guys, that's going to about do it for us. Thanks, Jeff. It was a good show.
Yeah, it was a good show.
And thanks everybody that stayed with us in the chat room. We do it for you guys. Yeah, that's going to about do it. We'll talk to you guys next week.
See ya.
Later.
Let's get started.